Get ready for Rex Fest. Come witness 5 action-packed hours of pure wrestling entertainment in pro wrestling biggest week, featuring talent from promotions across the United States, including Crown of Maine Wrestling and the return of Fighting Spirit Wrestling. Full cash bar and food available. All this and more for only $125 at the beautiful and elegant Arts Ballroom in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This huge event will also be live streamed, so don't miss out on Rex Fest. Tickets are now on sale at Rex Fest Live. Hope to see you there.
What's going on, Geek Pit? Welcome to another episode of Geeking Out with the Metal Geek. I'm your host, the Metal Geek. We are officially on the road to 1,933 subs right here on YouTube. So if you're not subbed, please hit that subscribe button, click the link, and subscribe today. You'll be helping me out so much, and it costs you absolutely nothing. I'll be appearing at a couple of shows. I'll be appearing at Rex Fest, which is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'll be doing the official pre-show, so make sure you guys go out and buy your tickets because you guys want to say you were at the first annual Rex Fest. Now, not only that, I'll be appearing also at Wrestling Is Now Heart Attack, which is at the Queens Elks Lodge in Queens, New York, which is February 10th. And yeah, it's going to be headlined by Joey Conway defending the belt against Ace Romero. So make sure you go out, buy your tickets to that one as well. Yeah, so this podcast right here means so much to me. I'm a cancer survivor. That's why this podcast means so much. So let's give a geeking out welcome to our guest today, the cancer fighter, Sean.
Hey, how's it going, my friend?
What's going on, dude? Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. And you know what? I'll even I'll shoot here with your audience. We were talking about me not having to go to a circus, and this may be preventing me from having to, not the Psycho Circus, but my family and children are at a circus right now, and my wife just sent me a picture of it. And thank goodness I'm spending my Friday night here with you instead of over at that particular circus. So we're okay. We're okay.
We're good. We're good then.
We're good. We're good.
All right. So yeah, I guess we're gonna get started with your journey. And first, I guess we'll ask, how did you get involved in pro wrestling? So,
well, you know, I always say to folks that my father, who was a Vietnam vet and retired Nassau County Police Sergeant, you know, loving father, caring father, very rigorous though. But I told him, I said, you made the biggest parenting mistake of your life when you sat me down in front of SummerSlam 1988 when I was 3 years old. So yeah, I'm an old man, but that's what kind of got me hooked. And, you know, growing up, you know, as I was an only child, and I did have a stepbrother and a stepsister, but they were much older and lived apart from us. So being an only child, you know, TV a lot of times is how you kind of amuse yourself. And, you know, I kind of just gravitated more and more to wrestling. And my dad saw that, and, you know, he would be able to take me into the Nassau Coliseum using his police badge, you know, kind of a couple of his off-duty cops, you know, working security, were able to sneak us in. So got to see a lot of wrestling, probably more than most kids. WrestleMania 10 took me, great memory I have with them. And, excuse me. Then as I started to get older and kind of hit my growth spurts here and there, it was kind of something that was parked in the back of my head. You know, like I wanted to be a wrestler. I kind of wanted to try this out. But, you know, I started playing football in high school, and I excelled at that. And when I turned 18, I just happened to have a chance encounter in the local gym, because at that point now, not only I had fallen in love with football, but I also had fallen in love with working out. And, you know, that's that early, you know, 2000 era at that point. So you have guys like Triple H and Brock Lesnar debuting, you know, with these wild physiques. So obviously as a young adolescent, you're kind of drawn to like, oh shoot, that's what I want to push myself to look like in the gym. So I had everything going for me athletically, but like I said, I got approached by a gentleman. He saw my Hulkamania shirt I was wearing, and he said, "Hey, you want to give wrestling a shot? Have you ever thought about it? You're kind of like a big looking guy." So I said, "Hey, I kind of never knew how one got into it because there was no Google back then, and there was not really a wealth of information, nor were there many wrestling schools because the business was very protected back then." So the school they were talking about was Critical Mass Pro Wrestling over in Hicksville, which would eventually become New York Wrestling Connection. I was able to stay there for a couple months and train under Dickie Rod. So if anybody out there, in the business is not too keen on me being in it, then you can blame Dickie. Okay, he gets the finger pointed at him. He was the first one. So unfortunately for me, my father, as much as he supported me watching wrestling, didn't really want me to wrestle. And using his detective skills, kind of tracked me down to the school one morning when I had told him I was going to Bible study. But the particular girl that I was dating that I would have been going to Bible study with, well, we broke up about 5 weeks beforehand. So he kind of put two and two together. And he said, "Hey, you may be 18, but that means you could also move out of my house. So here's your choices: football in college or wrestling and not living with me." So I said, "Okay, yes, sir." Wound up having some success in college. I played football, I played lacrosse. And then after that was all wrapped up, I wound up having a very brief stint in the Arena Football League. I always joke that I played so poorly in my 4 games that I was actually active for that the 2008 season, which was the season that they folded. Well, they folded because I played so bad.
Yeah.
But at that point, I made my way back to New York Wrestling Connection. I very briefly trained with one of the head producers of AEW, which was pretty neat. And from there, unfortunately, I got involved in an accident and I broke my neck and back, kind of lost the ability to walk for a little while. And that was it for me with wrestling. And then I managed to get my ability to walk back, and life took another turn, but I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah. So you would talk about arena football. What position did you play?
I played it was a hybrid D line outside linebacker. What people don't realize is because they see me now, I'm about 215 pounds, but when I played college football, and you can see I got the Al Bundy jerseys behind me there. I was an offensive lineman and I was 300 pounds. So when I played in the Arena Football League, I played at 265 pounds. So I was still, though, considered undersized. And I was fortunate enough to actually get my playing time through special teams and long snapping for field goals.
Yeah. So you going back to wrestling now. You mentioned, I believe, Brock Lesnar. Who were some of your inspirational favorites as a kid, you would say?
Oh, it's all generational. So, like as a little kid, obviously Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. My father had the big Ray-Bans and the mustache, so I'd have to say Sergeant Slaughter because I actually used to call him that for a while. Then once the '90s came about, it was obviously Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, and then move on from there. I was a Steve Austin guy, of course.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yep. I definitely dig. What I liked most about The Rock was not his wrestling style, but what everyone mostly knows him for, and that was his ability
Talker.
to talk.
Yeah.
I love that, those zingers, that quick wit, because that's something at least I like to think I have about me. So I was like, okay, like that's cool. Like I can identify that. But Goldberg at that point as well. No surprise now I'm bald with a beard. Triple H, big Triple H fan, huge Triple H fan.
Man, do we become just best friends right now? Because I was in high school, I was the biggest Triple H fan, and in college, and then people used to rank on me saying, "Why do you like this guy so much, man? How do you like him?" I'm like, "Because he's the game. That's why he's just so awesome."
He
You know?
just, for me, like I said, is somebody who was a fan of working out and weightlifting and gravitating towards bodybuilding. Like when he came back at Madison Square Garden, against Kurt Angle, at least just in that venue, the face off they had before the Rumble, like good gosh, that, you
Yeah.
talk about a pop, but also too talk about a physique that he had on him, and that was just something that, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say like, oh, hey, like when I was going to the gym when I was like, 17, 18 years old at that point, like that's kind of like what I was like pushing myself towards, so
Uh-huh.
definite inspiration there. And yeah, I guess at that point it kind of shifted a little bit. Now there's some more mainstay people that like, CM Punk, big Punk fan
Definitely.
as well. It's unfortunate he keeps getting hurt.
Try to get the pop vinyl. So
There you go. See, yeah, okay, there we
yeah.
go.
Everyone's been asking me for this pop vinyl. Do you know Alex or no? Alex
Yes.
been asking me. He's been asking me for this pop vinyl all the time. He's like, "Yo, that pop vinyl, man, I need it."
Hey, well,
he sees it in my background all the time, and he's asking for it. So yeah,
pretty cool one. But yeah, if you were to ask me like if I had a current favorite that was kind of a newer superstar, I guess I'd have to lean kind of towards AEW's Malachi Black.
definitely.
I dig that whole thing. I'm a metal guy, but and I got some tattoos as well. But I also used to train Muay Thai, so I love his style. And I actually try to incorporate some of it into my own wrestling. So,
Who's your favorite metal bands? You'd say?
oh goodness, this is cool because when when I wound up coming back to NYWC and we'll touch upon that a little bit more in depth later. I was given some liberty to pick the music for my team and stuff like that, and I went with "Stranded" by Gojira.
Gojira, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Gojira guy. Metallica above all else, but Gojira, Slipknot, Hatebreed.
You ever
Uh,
seen Corn? You ever seen Corn live?
yes, I have. I
Corn.
actually I did a collaboration with Korn back when I had my coffee company, and that was pretty interesting. Really
That's awesome. Yeah.
wasn't really our target market, but I kind of bullied it in. I was like, "No, this is what we're doing." And hey, you know what? It was cool.
That's
I
so.
my new band that I'm really getting into is Parkway Drive.
Yeah, I'm into also. Oh man, you ever hear of Spirit Box?
I have not.
Oh my god, dude, they're like, you ever hear of In This Moment, right? Are you
Yes,
familiar with
yeah,
them?
yeah, I've heard of them.
So, all right, let's picture it this way: Spirit Box is In This Moment and Evanescence mixed together. Their sound is just absolutely crazy.
Hmm. I'll have to give them a listen. I
Yeah,
just another one that now popped in my head, and I know he's been on your show, Joey Conway there with his
yeah,
knocked loose. It's I get his damn theme song stuck in my head
dude.
sometimes.
Every single time, I always get his theme song stuck in my head. I'm just singing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
It's very catchy.
it is, and it's funny because I had other knocked loose songs on my Apple Music, suggested for you that would always go through, and I was like, oh, okay, these guys kind of catch my ear, and then after listening to Joey's music, I was like, wait a moment, okay, and I was able to put the two together.
Yeah, so now I will dive into how did you know you were first diagnosed with cancer? Was there something that you noticed was wrong or
See, now this is where it's I kind of want to just preface what I'm about to say for anybody out there that may not be feeling well, and that doesn't mean like, oh, if you think you have cancer, because God, no one ever really goes about thinking they have cancer.
Mhm.
But I'm talking like, even if you're not feeling well and it's been weeks and you're not getting answers for like maybe like a stomach bug you have, or just even mental health issues, like it's all right to get things checked out, but most importantly, you need to advocate for yourself and to never surrender that ability to do so, because while all these physicians and clinicians should have some esteem to them for the fact that they have gone through all this schooling and licensure, it's just they can be wrong. They're human. They make errors. I was told I had 12 weeks to live, and I'm very wonderfully and happily sitting here talking to you right now, not going to the circus. So it's make sure you advocate for yourself. But now that I've prefaced that, I went about 7 months of going to doctors, specialists, hospitals, being told that it was all in my head and being constantly turned away. And when I asked that they give me certain medical exams, I got scoffed at because, I didn't have the schooling. And it turned out that in September of 2016, I was not feeling well going into a weekend. And at that point, I had already been to at a certain hospital in the area, not Memorial Sloan Kettering or any of the
That's
ones.
the best. So Memorial Sloan is the best.
Oh,
Top
they're the
notch.
best.
Top notch.
That's why I got my tattoo for them right there. So, but no,
That's awesome.
I almost slipped and said the name of the hospital that dropped the ball big time. But I'm glad I caught myself because I don't feel like getting a letter in the mail.
That wouldn't be good for me either.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't want to have to bail us both out for my big mouth. But I kept going to this particular hospital, and I went there on a Friday night, and I had told them, look, I've been vomiting, I've been dizzy, I've been having, all sorts of aches and pains all over my body. I'm having a difficult time thinking. And they just told me I was drunk and I needed to go home. And I said, well, that's funny because I don't drink. So what can you do for me? Oh, well, we'll give you some IV fluid. And I said, well, I keep coming here and that's all you offer me, but I'm telling you something is wrong with me. And their response was they tried to place me on a psych hold because they thought that I was some sort of disorder where I was conjuring this up. So I left the hospital, went over to my parents' house that lived a mile down the road from me, and I said I need to stay with you guys. Something just isn't adding up. And lo and behold, 2 days later, I wound up having a massive stroke on my parents' living room floor, and it was caused by a golf ball-sized brain tumor in my cerebellum.
Wow.
So I was once again, fortunate to have my cell phone in my pocket, and I was able to mash the buttons. And my dad, for some reason, it dialed my dad. And hey, oof. So it dialed him, and thankfully, with my father's training and wherewithal from being a police officer, he knew that there was not a lot of time to spare. He said he knew at this point something seriously was wrong with me, and he just dragged me to his car and put me in his car and sped to the hospital because he knew he couldn't wait for an ambulance. And they got me there, and they proceeded to tell me again nothing was wrong. And I had to argue. Yeah, while I was suffering from Bell's palsy in the middle of my stroke, I had to tell them to give me a fill-in-the-blank CT scan. And 6 seconds in, they finally said, stroke team. And that's when I first learned that I had that golf ball-sized tumor in my cerebellum.
Shit.
So joke was on them. They were right. It was in my head, but not the way that they said it was. So I spent about a week in the hospital getting stabilized, blood transfusions, and then I had a craniotomy where they cut a nice big hole in the back of my head, which tops off the lovely scar. If anyone's ever seen me wrestle, I have a lovely scar that runs from the back of my head all the way down to the crack of my hiney. So that really kind of connected the dots there. But they went in there, they pulled that sucker out, and the surgeon in the middle of the surgery came out and pulled my father aside. And fortunately, this surgeon was covering from another hospital, because the hospital policy that I was at was not to tell the patient or the patient's family until a confirmed pathology had come back. But this particular surgeon had practiced for over 35 years, and he told my father right in front of their hospital coordinator, and he told him where he could stick it. He said, this young man has a cancer, and it's a melanoma. I'm sorry.
Shit.
So with the hospital sticking to their procedures and policies, when I finally was cognitive and came to in the ICU 2 days later, I woke up with my father grabbing my ankle, telling me, you got cancer. And my father has done such a wonderful job of preparing me for life that I knew, based off of my unfortunate neck injury and accident and emergency surgery that I had, I knew what he expected from me that first time. So with something like this, I just looked him in the eye and I said, okay, we're going to do this.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that to make it sound heroic or nothing, but that's just where I was at because, to already have lost the ability to walk once before and be told you're never going to do X, Y, and Z again, well, that kind of calluses you a little bit. So to get to go through that again, like, it's like, oh, well, like, okay, what do we got coming this way now? So, I was in South Nassau. Oops, hope we could edit that one out.
Uh, we're up. We're live. Hello. All right.
We're live, guy. We're live, kid. And there's no retakes. I think
Got
we'll be okay. They're I'm sure changed now, and statute of limitations are done with on that one.
Yeah.
So I got out of I should have just said, what do they call it? Medical facility. They're
Medical. The WWE calls it a medical facility.
Yeah, I left that medical facility, and promptly was brought to Memorial Sloan Kettering, who I will proudly say their name
Love
over
them.
and over again because I have nothing but love for those people there. I swear the folks in Memorial Sloan Kettering are hired from the same pool of folks that work at Disney World because I've never had a bad experience from anyone who's either held the door to change a garbage can liner or even checked me in. Everyone's always got a smile on their face there. But I went there, began radiation, to clean up the surgical bed, like we spoke about a little bit earlier. One of the things that really made me further focus on this was the fact that I saw so many young children in that radiation unit, and they were about 2 or 3 years old, and I at the time was 31, and I just said, you know what, you're not going to feel sorry for yourself at all. No, not today, not tomorrow. That's it. You're going to save your shit because these kids haven't had a chance to make any mistakes. You've made every mistake a 31-year-old man can make, and thankfully, and people will always look at me with multiple eyes on this one. I did my best living in all the years after being diagnosed with cancer. It is really, my life is a tale of two cities, and I'm very proud of that. But from there, I started after the radiation. I started to have really bad seizures, and we didn't know what was causing them. And I say we, I mean my oncology team didn't even know. And finally, I had such a bad one that I lost my brain activity for a little while. So, this is it. And unfortunately, it happened to be right in front of my father.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was not for him, being, I can only imagine having to be pushed away as all these doctors start to work on your son as he's flopping around on the floor in the emergency room. And they told me that I had a rare complication that only occurs in 5% of all cancers. And that was leptomeningeal disease. And that basically is where your cerebral spinal cord fluid gets basically infected, so to speak, with cancer.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And you unfortunately die a very painful death where the cancer cells start to clog where it enters into your brain. The cerebral basically clogs the blood-brain barrier, and you basically go brain dead over a period of time in live real time. And I was very fortunate. I was able to get into a clinical trial, and that is why I always beg people to please, if you can, and I know times are very tough, but always look for those reputable organizations like the V Foundation who give all their money directly to cancer research, because without cancer research and clinical trials, I'm not here talking to anyone, let alone getting to have a wonderful life and children. I don't have any of that. So I am a success story of clinical trials. I was able to reach stability in my scans, which was unheard of, with someone in my diagnosis, because I had 12 weeks to live, I was given. And, we're talking about, I'm making it to like the 3-month mark. And it's like, no, we're still here, 4 months, 5 months. And eventually we were able to introduce a third drug, and through another clinical trial, and the combination of all three, in 2022, I became the only documented case of survival
Wow.
from cancer in the world. And I've been I've been written about in medical journals, which I know everyone could probably insert a joke of their own, and I wouldn't blame them. But yeah, that was it for me. 120 rounds of immunotherapy, chemotherapy pills every single day, to the point that, again, I have them tattooed on my arm here to remind me what I
Oh,
went through.
yeah.
And, it was one hell of a ride, but to really kind of tie up the cancer, I not that I ever really will, because I will be fighting this for the rest of my life, because I
I'm
will.
sorry. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
No, I'll be fighting this for the rest of my life, and not an active disease in my body, but for the people that still have it. Well, I don't care if it's in a wrestling ring. I will always be a cancer advocate. I can't leave people behind. And that's how I feel. I feel that I really need to be a beacon of hope to those who have lost all of it. And if wrestling is it, then that's it. But the funny way that I got back to wrestling was by starting to give back to people. I When I got that diagnosis, when I got told that, hey, you're the only one, I couldn't have been in a better place. And I don't mean mentally, I mean physically, could have not have been in a better place, because I was taking my stepdaughter to her very first WWE live event.
Wow.
We were in the back of a limousine that I had rented, because I wanted to make it as special of an experience for her as I possibly could. I got some, the premium seats that came with walk down to the ring and all that stuff. And while my wife and my stepdaughter and I were in the back of the car on the way up to Connecticut to see the show, I looked down at my phone, and there was that number. And you kind of get the chills when you see that number on your phone coming from MSK. And I picked up, and they said, Congratulations. You are the only survivor of this cancer."
Wow.
And at that moment, it's when I got to share with my at that point 5-year-old stepdaughter that her daddy had beat cancer, and all those meetings he was going to was actually chemotherapy appointments. So to get that news, and it's such a, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay, dude. I'm about to cry myself, dude. That.
To get that news in the middle of getting to share something so special with one of the main reasons what you credit to being alive. Because if I didn't meet my wife, and I didn't get the opportunity to raise my stepdaughter, who will soon be 8, and I've been raising her since she was only 14 months old, it's that nothing cooler than that to me, to get to share that moment with her, and then get to share that on top. It's like, all expenses paid trip to Disney World right there, which she wound up getting anyway. And she doesn't know this, but she'll be getting another one this year too. So, except I'm the one paying the expenses. So,
But
so
no.
my friends now, when I got back from the event, because we didn't tell anybody. We just kept it to ourselves for the evening, because we wanted to enjoy that as a family. And we wound up getting home, and that's when we told my in-laws and my folks, and everyone wanted me to have some sort of like big wild party, because I never had a bachelor party. I was always the guy who organized them. I didn't have them. So, and I didn't have one because I don't really like making a big deal of myself. But they said, let's have this party. And I have so much survivor's guilt, because, like I said, seeing those children, and I'm not going to say I was the devil himself, because that's my friend's gimmick, Mr. Conway there. But, I was not a choir boy either, so prior to cancer, I really wouldn't want to be, I wouldn't want my daughters dating me. I'll put it that way to you. I had a lot of growing up to do. And I realized that maybe, at least in my own mind, I didn't feel I was deserving of this second chance. So I wasn't in the mood to celebrate, because I didn't deserve it. And
Mhm.
my friend said, well, why don't you have a fundraiser then? So I was able to get East Coast Professional Wrestling to come and organize. I did the organization. They basically came and put on the show. And one of my smart aleck friends went ahead and said on Facebook, in a poll, if Sean wrestles again and gets in there, will you actually show up and donate more money? And it was like 97% like, yeah, we're there, awesome. And then it was 3% no. And I always say the 3%. I know exactly to this day the names of the 3%. My one aunt, my other aunt, my wife, and both my parents were the resounding no 3%. So I wound up getting back in there, and like I said, I never really got to finish training, and my training was so disjointed that I wouldn't, now looking back on it after putting in a good amount of time and continuing to put the time in to get better. I basically cosplayed a match with Rob Chase, Prince Ascanana from ECPW. And I wound up winning that match. And I thought that was basically going to be it for me. Hey, we beat it. We raised some great money for Memorial Sloan Kettering kids. And the following year, my lovely stepdaughter, who I constantly talk about, because her and my 4-month-old are why I put my feet on the ground every day. My miracle baby. I wasn't supposed to be here, let alone be a dad 2 times over. So I'm very fortunate for that. But she went to my wife. She said, because she wasn't there that weekend, she came up to my wife and said, I didn't get to see Daddy wrestle last summer. Can he wrestle? And she thought I put her up to it. And I said, absolutely not. But she said, you get one more of those. So I realized I needed to do something a little bit bigger, a little bit better. So I wound up going ahead and I bumped into Tristan Kyle, of all people, at my gym. And I noticed he was wearing a Creative Pro shirt. So I said, hey, can you maybe help me out with something? And we got to talking, and we wound up getting to put on a match. Me, him, my buddy Adam, who got to have his moment of glory too, and we wrestled him and Papa Clout there, and it wound up being a pretty successful event. We raised a good amount of money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which was awesome. But what we did this time was my friend, whose idea it was to have the fundraiser, unfortunately, he actually passed away like a few days before the event, which was really tough on me. So, I went out there, for me, I went out there for the people that were sick, but I went out there for him too. So that was a lot of emotion in that one time for me. But I renamed the event after him, and we're going to have it again this year, this September. And it's going to be a really great card that I'm now just starting to put the logistics together for. But we named it the Captain Michael Fisher Memorial Wrestling Classic. And we benefited St. Jude's. And being that my friend Michael Fisher, he was an Island Park firefighter, he died in the line of duty. A great deal was made of it by the press and local politicians. So they asked to do a nice little story on me, and I said, okay, fine. Really didn't think much of it, but on the local Herald the next week, there's a picture of me, ECPW tag team belt above my head, looking all pretty nice and good looking there. Which is
the
rare.
belt behind you? Is that the belt behind? Is that the belt behind you?
That would be this one right over here. That is my ECPW Long Island Tag Team Championship. I think they are currently recrowning them right now, but the belt over here, which I will get to shortly, is totally different and means much more to me.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we got some great coverage of the event, and that picture got noticed by some folks at ESPN and the V Foundation when they saw the article floating around on my LinkedIn, because my day job is I'm a business development manager for a marketing company that works with nonprofits and kind of helps them with their brand awareness and fundraising efforts. So my boss was a huge wrestling fan. So I said, okay, well, you know what? This is cool for me to put this up on my LinkedIn. Maybe it would ease some conversations. I didn't realize that it would be the gateway to me going back into wrestling full time and then some, because I reached back out and went back home, so to speak. I went back to New York Wrestling Connection, and I spoke to Shane, and I said, I don't know if I could still go. I have some limitations, but he said, you're doing a great job here with the V Foundation. They wanted to do a piece on me. So he said, look, if you want to come back home and start training again, you're more than welcome to. And I've been back there since July, and I've had a little bit of a good run there. We wound up my former arena football teammate, who wound up becoming my tag team partner, the juggernaut Darius Payne. Him and Mike Mondo and I wound up actually becoming the inaugural NYWC Trios champions.
Let's see if we could get a shot of that right there. There
Yeah,
you go.
that one means the world to me right there, because to be able to start there, over 20 something years ago, and then to be able to come back here now and have won a championship. Unfortunately, I did lose that championship, but I'm used to losing. I'll rip off CM Punk from the other night. I've lost more than I've won. It's it's not about the wins or losses. It's about, can you get your ass back up?
Not only that, you're the first trios champion, and no one could take that away from you as well. So.
No, and you know what? The main event of the space, and getting to have a wonderful 20-minute segment, getting to talk about cancer research on Busted Open the day before the event, like, talk about really like a storybook. And I kind of thought that was where it was going to end for me, but we got some great press off of that, and a lot of great organizations reached out to me, and they've been really rolling out some really great features on me. And I have some really neat stuff in the works, and I'm really proud of it. And I can't wait for it to hopefully see the light of day, so you and your listeners and all the other folks can kind of hopefully get something out of this.
I can't wait, man. Can't wait.
So it's just it's been a great ride. I've enjoyed every second of it. NYWC, like I said, it is my home. Shane has been nothing but gracious to me, and all the other owners there, and the locker room has been nothing short of supportive. Hey, like, I'll be real with you. There may be a person or two that ain't too keen on me, but that's life.
Mm-hmm.
Things
Exactly.
happen. But it's like I said, I'm a big fan of Triple H, though. So, but it's life.
Mm-hmm.
Not hinted at anything with a pencil in my hand. Anyway, go ahead. The floor is yours.
I can't continue after that whole speech, man, because you got me all choked up, man. Just listening to your story with you and your daughter going down to WWE and getting that call in the same exact night. That put a tear even in my eye just listening to that.
Well,
and I'm all choked up now. So
Well, if you want, I could we could go over the card that we got going on for Psycho Circus so far, because we got some really great matches announced for that.
Yeah, we could do that too, man. If you want to.
Yeah, if you want to, you got some questions for me, whatever you want to do, man. I got plenty of time, because, like I said, I got the Iggy. I don't got to go to the circus no more. Well, not Psycho Circus. I'll be going to
the other circus. The other circus. There you go. Right?
The circus up the road. I don't know. That's all confusing now.
Yeah. So I'm someone who went through chemotherapy. Did you go through chemotherapy when you were wrestling, or?
No. So I did what most normal people do. I went through chemotherapy while I was running one of the largest independent coffee chains on Long Island, and I was brokering all of our partnerships and making sure that our concession stands at the Nassau Coliseum and the Ducks ballpark were stocked. And I actually, through a sponsorship deal, got signed on as a consultant, being I played college lacrosse by the New York Riptide that are still playing there. I'm no longer with them. COVID came along, and unfortunately I had to step away from my business, because at the time I was undergoing active cancer treatment. But I always pride myself on that. I know it's not wrestling training, but I always tell people some of my best business deals that I've done was sitting in the chemotherapy chair.
Oh man, something just for me, when I was sitting through chemotherapy, I'd be watching TV shows, listening to podcasts, just sit there 2-3 hours just watching.
Well, it's funny, and I don't want to make you start to cry again, or me cry for that matter, but
please don't.
my wife started dating me when I was only a year into being sick. And if you go on my Instagram, you can see I was not a very easy on the eyes. person, you know, and it was just unfortunately because the chemo and the prednisone had wrecked my body, and I went back to 300 pounds, but I was not working out, so it was not pretty. But you know, she left a tough situation for her well-being and my stepdaughter's well-being, and I'll tell her, you know, she walked out of a house fire into a forest fire, and for that I am always indebted to her and my stepdaughter. So I started my coffee company because if I was going to die, I didn't want to leave them with nothing. So I wanted to make sure that I left something for them. So that's why I couldn't take the breaks or the rest when I was sick. You know, I don't, again, not trying to sound heroic, but I was the one scraping the windows at 1 o'clock in the morning when they were painted for holidays. I was the one humping everything. I was going to Costco with my dad for 75, no joke, 75 gallons of milk I would carry through Costco in shopping carts day of chemo. You know, it's just I had to do it for them, you know, and that's why I didn't get those moments. I wish I did. Like I never really got to kick back and enjoy the chemo, you know. Not that there's anything enjoyable, but
No, exactly. But I'm
no,
just saying, like,
I mean, I know it's just it's like I didn't get to actually have that submersive experience because I was maybe that's helped me because I was so all over the place.
yeah,
And that's something honestly to bring it back to cancer. Like that's one of those things. Like you know, people have to keep living, and it's tough. It really is. And I know cancer is not easy, and not everyone is a psycho like myself. But you know, it's you gotta just kind of keep making plans. You know, you never know if you're gonna get. You never know what's gonna happen. You know, I don't know
mhm,
what's gonna happen. I could die in my sleep tonight. You know, it's like they say, you can walk out your front door and get hit by a bus. It's just continuing to live your life is the way you beat cancer. And that came
definitely.
directly from Stuart Scott. You know, the V Foundation did a lovely feature on me to bring life full circle. My treatment plan, which was experimental, was the research for that plan and my oncologist was fully funded by the V Foundation and donations that people made. So it was just to me like it's you can't make this stuff up. You know,
No,
you
right?
really can't. But Stuart Scott said, when you know, when you die, it doesn't mean you lose the cancer. You beat cancer by how you live, why you live, and in the manner in which you live. So live. And that's what I always implore people. And to just simplify it even more, I tell them all the time, make plans, break plans, don't even make plans. Just do you. Never stop doing you because shoot, you can have the outcome I had, you know, and you don't have to go back into a wrestling ring, but you know, you got to be ready to go back into life. You should never leave it.
Exactly. Yeah. So how I started my story was I actually was vacationing in Florida, and what happened was I had these stomach pains, and like you were saying earlier about the stomach pains, right? And basically those stomach pains, I was like, okay, it's probably nothing. It's probably just constipation or something like that. Come back from Florida, the stomach pains escalate into really, really bad stomach pains. Okay, I gotta go to the doctor. I gotta go to the doctor. I go to the doctor and they tell me, "Oh, your appendix burst." So I'm like, "Okay, appendix burst." Now, oh, you're gonna it means you have to get surgery. Me, I'm like scared shitless. I have never had surgery in my entire life. And what happened was I go for the surgery and they tell us, "Okay, it's too inflamed. We can't remove the appendix right about now. So you're gonna have to come back. We're gonna give you antibiotics, and you could come back in like 2 months." I come back 2 months later to get the appendix surgery, and then what happens is, okay, yeah, they're sitting me down with my girlfriend in the waiting room, talking how I'm doing, and they're saying, "Okay, you're listening to this. You have cancer in the appendix." So my girlfriend loses it, and it's the hardest thing I could ever see is just her lose it. So that was hard for on me as a
Yeah.
person.
No, it's something that, you know, I'm sure you would understand, and maybe someone else who's listening understands is like people are most of the times very fortunate to have a good support system around them. But I don't think sometimes us as cancer patients realize that as much as our battle is exhaustive to us, it's also exhaustive to them. And
Definitely.
sometimes we need to be strong for them. And that segues now actually into the third thing that I always will tell people kind of shaped my cancer journey. And that was the first night that I got to be out of a hospital setting. And I was at my parents' house, and it was not the house I grew up in. So I wound up sleeping in a little twin bed that my folks had over at my house for my little cousin. And I'm laying in that bed, and I just had a YouTube on and just trying to distract myself, and came across a guy named Inky Johnson. And I don't know if have you ever heard of Inky Johnson?
No.
Inky Johnson is somebody that I quite frankly recommend that everyone listen to, whether it be the video I recommend or any of the stuff he said. It's so powerful, and again puts things into perspective. So Inky Johnson was a cornerback for the University of Tennessee, and he was a projected first round draft pick. And I think there was like 3 games in the season or something trivial, just a small amount of games left in his senior season. And it was it. You have 3 games left and you're an automatic millionaire, because back then they had all those crazy guaranteed contracts for those rookies. So he was making a routine sideline tackle against West Point and wound up severing a major artery and nerve in his neck going down to his arm. So not only did he lose use of his arm, he almost bled out internally, but also almost lost his life. So, his football career is over, and, he's being told you may not even make it through this. Now, at this point in his head, he's thinking the worst of worst, like, okay, I'm ready to just tap. I'm ready to go. And the video is called It's Not About You. And in the video, he talks about that moment, and he talks about how, he came from a very poor socioeconomic background, 2-bedroom house or, 2-room house with, 9 nieces and nephews and brothers and cousins. And, his mother and his grandmother were raising him. And, he was there, and he said it, I was their ticket out. I just needed to make those 3 games and automatic millionaire. And he lost it all, almost lost his life, and he almost threw in the towel. But like I said, he said to himself, it's not about you. If I quit now, my mother loses her son. I quit now, my grandmother loses her grandson. I quit now, my brothers and sisters lose their brother, and their teammate lose their teammate, and all the way down the line. And you know what? Like I said, I was very fortunate. I had an awesome support system. And I realized all those people around, if I threw in that towel, that was going to be it, So I kept on going for them. And then when my wife and my stepdaughter came in my life, that's just when I was off to the races, because I really had something to live for with them.
Definitely. Yeah. Because when I was going through it, I suffered like depression, not that depression, but like very, like you're upset, wondering why this is happening to you type of thing. But you got to keep, in the back of my mind, I keep telling myself, I got to keep fighting this thing. I got to keep fighting this thing. And that's what helped me get through this,
No, it's very tough. And I had one of those moments when I was told, that I had the 12 weeks to live, when they literally said the line, you need to get your affairs in order.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a real slap in the face. But like I said, I find beauty in cancer for the perspective it gave me, and the ability to live a much fuller, rewarding life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that cancer killed the Sean that I was before I got it. I'm happy it did me a favor.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I also had what is it called? The port, and
yeah,
they had the I don't know if there's a medical term for it. I think it's called the transporter.
I believe so.
Is that the medical term? I believe, because
Well, I was fortunate that I didn't need a port because I was only getting treatment every 2 weeks.
yeah.
So I didn't need one, which was I understand the great difficulty that comes with having a port, was explained to me not only by doctors but by cancer patients themselves that have had it. So
Mhm. But what is it called? Like the bottle? The bottle's called the transporter, I believe, right?
transfuser, I think.
The transfuser, right? The transfuser, yeah. Yeah, that's what I had as well. So I'd go for chemotherapy every other week. and I would take the transfuser home with me, and and then they would disconnect me every other week.
Yeah.
So, so it was pretty much I was always getting chemo.
Well, you made it through.
Yeah.
That's the important part.
Yeah.
And that's why folks like us though have to keep pushing though. Especially now. I'm going to have to get on a little political rant, but don't worry, I'm not going either side.
Oh God,
I'm not going either side. Not going either
Uh-huh.
side. We really do need to continue to push our elected officials to continue to really pursue a cure to cancer. And like I said, that's by allocating more money to clinical trials and clinical research. And I am very proud to say right now on your show, I will be going down to Washington not only February 21st on behalf of Melanoma Research Alliance, but I will be going down on March 2nd through the 5th to speak with our lawmakers in Congress and on Capitol Hill. Yes, that's
Wow.
right. A pro wrestler is going to speak to Congress, and it's not Jesse Ventura. It is me, and I will be going on behalf of all melanoma patients for more important, well, not as important. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my damn words. Not as important. I'm going as a melanoma patient first, but proudly as a professional wrestler as well.
That's awesome. That's
And I'm going to let them see for themselves, what clinical research and clinical cancer trials can do.
Exactly. But yeah, this conversation has just been awesome, and I appreciate it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's a little late for me. I'm an old man, so I stumble over my words a little bit as it gets a little bit later in the evening. So I do apologize. But
sometimes,
no, it's okay. I just like I said, I get to do this really cool stuff now, and it's not even the wrestling is the cool part. It's the fact that I now get to go in front of the men and women of Congress and say, hey, look, here I am. Here's my story. And oh, by the way, I'm a professional wrestler and cancer survivor. Like, that's pretty cool because I get to represent two communities right there that are so important to me.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes like I'll have like what you called long-term effects. Like I'll forget people's name for a while. I guess that's a long-term effects of the cancer, I guess.
Yeah, well, like I forget spots. Wait, did I say that? Things like that.
Wait, what? You forget spots? What did you say? What?
You see spots? I don't know what you said. That was like me holding up the pencil before. What did it all mean? Who the hell knows what's going on? It's crazy. I'm a big Triple H fan.
Yeah.
Read between the lines. Anyway, I was given the blessing to speak like that too. I had to check in on that one. I was still have a little fun. So okay, fun I will have. Especially as we go into now talking about the Psycho Circus card.
Oh yeah, that's right. We forgot. So we got Cooper Valentine.
Yeah,
is going to be debuting against
Cooper.
Georgia.
I have had the pleasure of seeing train over the past 7 months that I've been back at NYWC, and it's I'm telling you, he's a very lucky young man in the sense that his parents are so supportive of him doing this, and I can only think that their support has lent itself to some of his talent in the ring because he is always there. He is a gazillion times more talented than I will ever be. And I really think, this debut is something special. You know what? That's worth going to Psycho Circus alone to see that in person because it's been a long time coming in New York. And he's really one hell of a kid. And I could say that because I'm almost 40 and he's going to be turning 18. So I could be his dad.
Yeah. Have you seen the Remarkable match or at Remarkable Wrestling? That match was absolutely amazing. He made that match.
He, like I said, I have had practice matches with him. I have had my fair share of training sessions with him. He is a professional through and through, and it's just so amazing to see how good he is and how young he is. And it's just like I just want to squeeze the kid, just like shit. I'm just but no, I support him all the way. God bless him.
Yeah, definitely.
He's destined for great things. He will be on television. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. We got Amity LeVay versus Dolly Darko, which should be another fun match right there.
That's going to be quite interesting, especially with Mike Mistretta in Amity's corner, because
Oh,
whoever knows what he's up to, but it's, Dolly, I really respect her martial arts ability. She really, she throws better kicks than I do. I'll gladly put people over where they need to be put over. And that's something that she's phenomenal with, and Amity also too, I get to train with Amity and, just being around her, she's just a great person, but also too, she's just a kick-ass athlete. She really is with her gymnastics background. Some of the stuff I've seen her do that she hasn't even busted out yet on cards. Oh goodness, it's she's another one that's probably going to be on TV soon. In my
definitely.
in my opinion.
From what I see, she's amazing already. So you know what I mean.
She's just starting to come into her character right now, which is awesome. And she's such a creative person, and she's really kind of taking the reins with it. And she's coming up with some cool stuff, and I'm sure we're going to see some even cooler stuff in the future from her.
Definitely, definitely. And speaking of that, I guess Michael Mistretta versus Clancy Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan Clancy. First of all, Mike Mistretta has started to take over my training, and he's doing one hell of a job with me, and I respect the fact that he's excellent at chain wrestling. I've made it a point to go out of my way to start to do more of that with him. So hopefully, I could one day be as good as him. But that again, nobody's better, so I probably wouldn't
Nobody's better than Michael
exactly.
Mistretta.
But I'll tell you, Ryan Clancy, that's another one. This is a loaded card of people that I really like. I couldn't say enough good things about these people. Ryan Clancy is another young man who's really making a name for himself in the Northeast, and also too just getting to share a locker room with him and having the random gym conversations we may have on social media with one another. He's a heck of a guy and a heck of a talent, and I'm really excited for this European match that they're having. I may have to throw a hoodie on and kind of sneak out into the crowd for that one, because that may be a master's class going on right there. Not maybe, it will be, and I guarantee.
Classic right there.
We're going down this card right now, and to me, and I'm not just trying to be a pushover here, but it's just damn, these are great matches. This I could see why this is WrestleMania for New York Wrestling Connection. This is the biggest show for them. I see the next one here, and this is a little hurtful to have to see this one, but this is the Trios Championship match there. The Unstoppable Hitmen versus Milk Chocolate. I don't really know how to pull for in that one. My Trios team had a victory over Milk Chocolate, when we were wrestling them and Rex, but Unstoppable Hitman, that's a replica back there. That's not the real McCoy. That's a trophy case one right there. They have those championships now, so I wish them all well. I wish them well, and
Definitely.
Maybe I'll see them down the road if that's the course I choose to go back down, because I just came out of a trios, which I learned a lesson recently, but we still have another match to go over, so we'll talk about that one first.
The Psycho Circus match. There you go.
Oh, good Lord. This will be, like I said, I have been in and out of NYWC twice already for short periods of time. I have never gotten the pleasure of seeing a Psycho Circus match in person. I cannot wait. And I am not really a fan of, I'm a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. I wrestled in high school. I'm more of a, I'm your meat and potatoes type guy. So like to add stuff like into it, like, okay. But you know what? Knowing the talent in this match and just the insanity that it is, I am really looking forward to seeing this in person. You look at the participants here. It's again, talent across the board. We've just recently added post game to our locker room within the past couple months. Both phenomenal talents. I know they've had their fair share of time in CZW. Sal Savelli, another person who's incredibly talented. And I will also go ahead and say incredibly patient because he deals with me nonstop. So he's another one who's been trying to help knock the 90 pounds of rust off of me and then teach me some more, you know. So then we move on to our next team here. Another bunch of guys that I don't care what they say, they're actually good people. Joey Conway and the Slime Balls, again, not only talented people, but very patient people, especially Joey. Then we're moving on to another talent. This is just insane just going over this right now.
Mikey Whipwreck.
Mikey Whipwreck, again, like the godfather of Long Island wrestling, you know, the godfather of NYWC, you know, ECW legend, WCW, WWE. Like, it's just, and another person who has the patience of a saint, JT Kaysen, you know, another great guy who deals with so much nonsense, especially from me, which God help him. And then, you know, the Hulk Hogan of NYWC himself. It's
the Big O.
Big O. Yes. So, this match. Oh man, if they can keep everyone in their seats for it, that would be a trick onto itself because I don't see anyone sitting down for a moment during that.
You have all the top people from NYWC just in this match alone, man. You know?
But it's not only just top people; it's top talent as well. You know, and it's like you just went down that card, and we could say the cliche, and that's not even the entire card yet. That's just what's out and what has been confirmed. You know, wrestling is, like they say, ice cream. There's literally a different flavor of ice cream in every single one of those matches.
I'm sure we'll get more. Trust me.
We'll get more. You know, again, shoot.
It's the Psycho Circus, so it's the WrestleMania of Long Island, the biggest Long Island show.
I wasn't having an equipment malfunction. I was looking for something because right now I'm actually waiting for my match as well, and it's you know, I didn't have a good go my last outing in the ring. I'll bring it up. It won't be the elephant in the room. I lost my singles debut after 21 years actually of trying to get into NYWC and trying to actually fully get trained. And, you know, I've won a championship. I've main evented the largest independent wrestling show in Long Island history. You know, I unfortunately lost my singles debut. And, you know, did I get out wrestled? Maybe. Did I get outsmarted? Maybe. Did I get outclassed? Absolutely not. You know, it's you know, I hate to even because now we're starting to get into a little bit of some real shoot stuff, but you know, like I said, there's maybe a few people that aren't too keen on me being in the wrestling business because for whatever reason, but you know, maybe those people have spots on the card because me, I don't know, but I'm still waiting for my match, and I guess we'll see what happens when it comes to me, but it's a safe bet you're going to see me at Psycho Circus and not just standing there smiling and telling motivational stories. No, I'll be there doing the other thing that I feel that I do fairly well. And now that I'm training much harder and I'm much more focused, I will be there, like I said, doing the thing I do well as also, which is kicking ass.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait for Psycho Circus, man. You know,
I will say ever since I lost that last match and that person speared me into oblivion and put my shoulders on the mat for the first time in my wrestling career, I thought I wanted to do this before. Oh, you have no idea now. You have no idea. I miss things with my family. I miss other obligations. I make sure I'm constantly training her one way and another. So when I get back in the ring the next time, I'm not going to be yucking around making backstage vignettes with Mike Mondo. I'm not going to be making the same little rookie mistakes. I'm going to go in there and rip someone's arm off and beat him over the damn head with it.
Definitely, man. Yeah.
Just you poke the bear,
Mhm.
shit happens.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway, back to the smiley fun stuff.
back to the smiley fun stuff. What else you got?
Well, right now, like I said, I've got some pretty neat stuff that I'm working on, some stuff that's coming out, but unfortunately, I deal with national organizations in all different aspects, and some of these projects I have been sworn to secrecy on, and I'm going to do a better job of legally keeping my mouth shut than I did before when I was talking about the particular medical facility.
Medical facility.
Yes,
Not the
exactly.
WWE term, right?
What I can tell you about right now is, and I'm proud of this because, like I said, I have always been a little bit of a meathead. I am proud of the fact that now I have started to work with local fitness influencers that basically deal with different modalities of exercise. And what I'm doing is we're going ahead and I've started filming a YouTube show called ModBod, Modify Your Limits, where it's basically showing folks like, hey, I've had A through Z, torn, broken, snapped, tumors, strokes, COVIDs, Legionnaire's disease, which is not even kidding. I had Legionnaire's disease. I don't even know if people get that anymore. I got it though. I beat it, But the thing is
Your
this.
Superman is what you're the definition of Superman right there, man. Throw something at you and you'll
I'm just I'm stubborn. I don't quit. I don't go away. Like I said, certain people don't want me here. I will not be going anywhere. Long Island Wrestling is going to be stuck with me for a very long time. So everyone should get used to
knock on
seeing
wood.
face.
Knock on wood. Wait.
Oh
there's
no,
wood here.
no. Yeah, like I said, anything can happen tomorrow, but from what I have to say about it, this face is going to be around for a very long time. So everyone should get nice and comfortable with it because I'm here and I'm not leaving this time. So with that said, back to ModBod. So we're going ahead and we are showing folks that just because you've fallen down doesn't mean you can't pick yourself back up. And the best way to pick yourself back up is through exercise. So the first episode is going to be coming out next week on my Instagram right now. We have the teaser up right now for ModBod. And the folks at Fit House in Long Beach, along with one of their trainers, Steph K, and another former arena football player, Rob Ricketer, put me through a very, very nasty CrossFit workout that kicked my ass. But I'm glad that we did it. And next week we'll be filming an episode at Hollywood Fitness in Long Beach. And then I think at one point down the road, me and Mr. Joe Acasio are going to get together, and we're going to go over to his training studio there, and we're going to do an episode of ModBod. So it's something pretty cool, and it's something to give the folks in the cancer community and the other communities as well, to kind of help them, like I said, get comfortable being uncomfortable and getting comfortable with exercise. So it's hopefully people give it a watch, and much like the wrestling, they get something out of it.
Just checking our comments real quick to see what we got, because you see, we can't go on Instagram and check the comments. We physically have to go on Instagram and check the comments because StreamYard doesn't allow comments for some reason. It only allows it through Facebook and
Gotcha. So what do we got here? Any good ones?
No comments right now. So we're good.
That's a good thing then. So then we know that particular medical facility doesn't have any of their staffers listening.
Knock on wood somewhere, man. But yeah, do you have any organizations or anything you want to plug, or social medias?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Cancer Fighter Sean Wachter, and I am on X, I think they call it now.
X. The kids call it X now. That's
what Cancer Fighter SW, and there you can actually follow along with what I do on a daily basis as far as working out. I put it up there and just say, look, you know what? It kind of keeps me accountable. And if people can say, oh, wait, this guy does this, then shit, I can do it too. More power to them. So I'm on there. And then I believe I'm on TikTok as well, but I have, I think, like one. I don't even know. I was told to set it up, so I did it. And it's cancer fighter Sean Wachter on TikTok. But if you go on, if you go on any of those, you click my link tree, you'll see all the great organizations that I work with. And like I said, stay tuned because a whole bunch more coming out.
Definitely. One final question, and this is a big one. Who is your dream opponent you would love to get in the ring with?
My dream opponent right now, and like I said, I'm a marketer by trade, and I'm actually currently another thing to pile on top of my life. I'm finishing my MBA actually right now at Fitchburg State University online. So I know I like to think I know a good business opportunity when I see one, and I'd like to, I've been told I'm the Rocky of wrestling. So if I'm here on Long Island and I'm thinking of current, who could be my Apollo Creed? Well, I'm looking at Matt Cardona.
Cardona, that would be a good one right there.
I'm looking at him because right now, he's the indie god, the king of indie wrestling. Well,
for now, man, MJF is the indie god. Well, not anymore though.
Yeah,
but he's signed now, right?
I'm sorry.
MJF, he's I think he's signed, right? We
With
don't know
AEW,
anymore.
no. Well, I guess I don't know. I guess time will tell with that one. I hope he stays with AEW. They've got a ton of talent there, and he just makes the place better.
Yeah.
But
Definitely, man.
no, it's been a blast getting to spend my Friday evening with you. I'm glad that we got to do this because otherwise I'd be sitting on a cramped bleacher or, based on the pictures my wife showed me, a really tight spot on the floor. And with all the extra training I have been doing, and I'm not trying to sound like Hulk Hogan, my back is killing me from all of it. So I'm glad I'm sitting in this office chair and not on a hardwood floor in a gymnasium in my local town of parts unknown, New Mexico.
But yeah, make sure you go out and buy your Psycho Circus tickets because those tickets are definitely going to sell out. They sell out.
It's crazy. Year. Like I said, I did not have the pleasure of being involved with the company when they actually had a Psycho Circus going on. I always missed it, and both times I've come and gone. And getting to be a part of the space was really neat. But Psycho Circus, the buzz around that, it's just I got to see some of the ticket flow for things, and it's just Psycho Circus tickets, they're like pretty much almost gone.
Wow.
Yeah, like almost all the reserve seating is gone, and they added an additional row of reserve seating. So I think we may only have GA left, and it's not something that I would wait and sit on.
No, GA is the worst, to be honest with you. You don't, because GA, you're all the way in the back, and you're not even getting a seat.
Well,
you're just standing.
If certain people, had their way, like I said, there may be a few people in the locker room had their way, I'd probably be sitting in GA, and not actually in the locker room or the ring. So,
yeah.
But, with the way things have gone, maybe they'll be sitting in GA next year.
Exactly. So, but yeah. So I'm so glad I got my tickets that night when NYWC did their last show. Because I'm
that was good. That was good. Good move on your part.
I'm going to be sitting in the front row right there. Psycho Circus. There you go.
Awesome. I will definitely have to come down from the GA seats, and say hello to
you. Yeah. You don't have to. You could just see me because you'll be wrestling, hopefully, right?
Well, that's my plan. And like I said, I don't really let people get in the way of my plans. They told me I wasn't going to walk again or wrestle again. And I did both. And, they said, hey, get your shit together. And I'm still sitting here. So when people tell me I don't belong or I can't do something, well, I'm sorry. I'm not a gambler, but I only bet on one person, and that's me.
Yeah. Sean, thanks so much for your time, man. We've been almost an hour and a half. That's interview. Awesome. This interview has been absolutely awesome, by the way. So make sure you guys check this interview out later on the replay, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Rock signs up.